So we're back with another wonderful guest for our pre-centennial telethon. I'm here with Auntie Mildred Higa, formerly Sadoyama, and she's going to share with us some amazing stories from her childhood, growing up in Hawaii, and being a student of Hawaiian Mission Academy. Auntie Mildred, thank you so much for having us today.
You're welcome.
So why don't you share with us a little bit about where you grew up and how you found HMA and became a student there?
My older sister and my brother went to Hawaiian Mission Academy first, and my mother insisted that all three of us go to a private school because since she didn't have any education in Okinawa, she was kind of like illiterate. And so she had to help raise the family when her mother died when she was young. And so when she came to Hawaii and she had her family, she made sure that, we got a good education. And I really give my hats off to her because all the struggles that, occurred, because there was 9 in our family. The older ones did not have private education like the youngest 3. So my sister, who was above my brother, went to Hawaii Mission Academy first. And she was kind of not odd person, but she told me that she was dyslexic. But one of the teachers helped her, and she learned to read and everything. And so she really praised the school and the teachers for the guidance they gave her. And so, of course, she groomed my brother and then me to go to Hawaii Mission Academy also as soon as we graduated from the public school in Waihole. Waihole was to the 9th grade. And so after 9th grade, all 3 of us, we went to Hawaii Mission Academy. And in those days, it was difficult to commute back and forth every day. But fortunately, we had a brother who worked at the post office who drove a old Model T Ford through that old Pali Road and was able to take us. Got up early in the morning and come home late at night when he got through work. Well, at first, he just dropped us off at the main library. And from there, we took the city bus to Pensacola, or to Makiki first. And that's how, and then when school was over, we took the bus again and waited for him at the library. And he drove us home and commuted back and forth. But in those days, we didn't have the tunnel. And it was so scary, especially when it rains. We were just hold on to our seat.
Because the old Pali Road back then, that was a difficult pass.
Turn. Oh, it was so scary. But we made it and we never had any accident.
Wow. So your mother had, you said, a family of 9. She wanted her 3 youngest to go to a private school. How did she find out about HMA?
Well, as I mentioned that Naomi and her sister, Mildred, were selling, they were canvassing during the summer. And they sold, the, I don't know, little friend or what it was those days. But they, my sister, she was into so many things. And she was a good reader too. And so she really liked the books and insisted that, instead of going to the public school, that she goes to the private school.
So and Auntie Naomi and them they were young back then, huh?
Yeah,
Canvassing.
they were young.
So 2 young ladies canvassing, selling children's books, and that children's book inspires a child to want to go to a Christian school. That's amazing.
Yes.
So you years ago told a children's story about how a certain, I'll say, not a person, but something named Mei Li helped your parents send you guys to school. Who was Mei Lee, and what did she do for you and your family?
Meili was a water buffalo that we used for our farming. She used to plow the taro patch. And my father bought her from his friend because when they first moved to Kahalu, they didn't have a water buffalo. And she was, so good. She was really a good water buffalo. And they were so devoted to each other too.
Your father and the water buffalo.
Yes, they really knew each other, seems like, Every morning he used to take her food, bucket of barley, and used to go tap, tap on the bucket and said, "Here, Mary, this is your cow for the day." And
Wow.
they really communicated, seems like.
Yeah. And so she had a few babies, calves, over the years, and those were the
She had,
financial way your parents were able to send you guys to school. Is that right?
that's right.
Yeah.
They sold the baby water buffalo to some other farmers because in those days they didn't have too many.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, she came at the right time, like when our fee was due at HMA. I think it was $50, the entrance fee or something. But,
Wow.
my parents were able to use that money
Yeah.
for our school.
Yeah. Now, Mei Lee also sent you guys to school with her offspring, but she's also got a career in Hollywood, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
She when my parents retired, just before they retired, in fact, there was a scout that came from the San Diego Zoo and looking for water buffalo and asked my parents if they could buy it. And so since they were going to retire, they said sure, and they sold it to the zoo, San Diego Zoo. And so when we graduated, my mom and my dad and my older brothers came for our graduation. And then at that time, my dad insisted that we go to San Diego Zoo because he wanted to see
Mei Lee.
he wanted to see Mei Lee again. And so my sister's husband drove us down there, and it was really a emotional or really touching situation.
For your father.
Yeah, because she was here and we were on the entrance. And so he went around and he called, Mary, are you okay? And so she heard his voice and she came to him and go, hey.
Yeah, calling him back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm told she has a cameo in Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments.
She was, when they made that movie, she was in towards the end, I think you will see her crossing
the Red Sea.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, Auntie Mildred, can you share with us some teachers that you remember from your HMA days? Maybe someone who invested in you, cared for you, and taught you about God's love?
We had, our science teacher was Mr. Albee, and he was strict, but he was good. I really enjoyed him because I had to take chemistry and I think physics too, since I was planning to go in nursing. And I think he laid the foundation to study hard, and all that. And my brother, who was ahead of me, he also had him as a teacher. And he was very instrumental in us obtaining, our course requirements. And he went in medicine, and so he really appreciated that too. But the best teacher that I remember was Jordan Marshall, and he was our Bible teacher. And he was really a good old Joe. Oh, I tell you, he had the biggest smile. Oh, you never forget that smile. And he really taught Bible doctrines like that. And we had to memorize all those memory verses with all the index card, a whole ring full of memory verses. But I think that was a good lesson for us.
Yeah. And I've heard his name before. Was he the Mr. Marshall with the ukulele?
I don't know if he played ukulele, but he made the best kulolo.
Oh, Kulolo.
Kulolo. And they used to sell that for fundraiser.
Wow.
He was good at making that kulolo.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So, Auntie, what were some lessons you learned at HMA? Not so much the school lessons, but the life lessons that you learned at HMA that you've carried with you through your life.
Oh, I think honesty and, working hard. Yeah.
And then
Studying.
maybe looking back, when you finished with HMA, you went on to Walla Walla, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So what at HMA prepared you for Walla Walla, and how did HMA help you succeed in Walla Walla?
I think the foundation they set for us was, in order to succeed, you have to study. And I wasn't a very good student, but I really had to study because we had to get all the requirements for pre-nursing, and it was not easy. And that's why I didn't go according to the plan that they had for most students. In fact, I stayed out because my brother was also ahead of me, and he was planning to go into medicine. And when he got accepted, it took a lot of money too again. And so it was hard for my parents. And so I stayed out and worked.
I see.
So I didn't continue right away. I just stayed out and then go back again. But I managed and made the requirements. At first, I was planning to go to Portland, because that's where they train students from Walla Walla. But last minute, since it was at Loma Linda, I decided to go to Loma Linda because I didn't want to be alone in Walla Walla by myself.
Yeah.
And so I followed him to go to Loma Linda.
I see.
So I think, that was a good foundation.
Yeah. So you and your brother really were able to be students together, not just at HMA, but over at Loma Linda.
Yes.
Yeah. Great. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to share with us about your HMA days or growing up in Hawaii?
Oh, I think mainly that we need to really be united, and going to church. And I'm glad that I got baptized when I was still in academy. And otherwise, I don't think I would have ended up the way I did. Yeah.
So going to a Christian school made you more understanding of who Jesus was.
Yes.
And that relationship with him has really
Right.
changed your life over the years. Yeah.
And I know a lot of my classmates, they didn't want to, and they didn't want to be a member of the church. And I don't know if it's just the negative feelings or what, but I'm glad that I took the road to education
Yeah.
to finally get what I wanted to. Yeah.
Well, Auntie, it's amazing to me to hear how you can look back and see God's hand in your life through some teenage girls selling books, through a water buffalo that was providing for your father and providing for your guys' education, and setting you up for success with hard work and lessons of honesty. Auntie Mildred, thank you so much for opening your house to us and sharing your story and letting us know how in so many different ways God has had his hand in your life. Thank you for encouraging us today.
Thank you.